Create this energy. Let's get it popping. You know the shit. Ready when you are, boss. What's going on? Back on another episode of the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Austin, more than an agent, along here with my co-host, my Dominicano hermano, John Soto. What's up, champ?
What's going on, my guy?
The daily grind, as usual.
Let's get it.
As you can imagine, we have a special guest today, a true veteran in the development space here throughout New Jersey. I believe she's also out the state as well. Okay, so we'll get a chance to dive into that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Dionte Chantel, who is here. And the interesting part about it, she also happens to be back on her modeling grind. I did see that, yeah.
Okay, shout out.
I did see that. So she's back on her modeling grind. So we're going to be talking about how modeling kind of instills this confidence that she probably takes over to the real estate space. Awesome. So we'd love to hear it. What got you into development? I know it's been some time since we talked the last time, but how did you get into like development specifically as a niche, like in real estate?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on here again.
Yeah, yes.
These guys are like my bros in this space. So how I got into development, I don't know. One day in 2013, when I was living in Newark, sleeping on an airbed, the city of Newark was actually selling land for $1,000. I had this vision to build container homes. And I was just like, you know what? I want to be a container home builder. I didn't even know it was called real estate developer at the time. I just loved real estate. And I just said it out loud. And here we are, like, what? 10 years, 9 years later, no, 11 years later, actually doing what we said we wanted to do. So it was really just, I think God giving me the desires of my heart and just me just loving the transformation of real estate before and afters and fix and flips and just bettering my community. Because back then, 2013, Newark was crazy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It was a bando or an abandoned property every other house. So, and I also knew, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. So I also knew what Brooklyn was like. And I always knew that Newark was going to be the next Brooklyn. And we were going to experience, I don't want to use the word gentrification, but the beautification. I knew it was going to develop into something more beautiful than what it was. So here we are 10 years later. All the New Yorkers are moving into Newark. Right. Unfortunately, the numbers are crazy. Yep. We're selling, 2 families for $900K plus. It's nuts. It's really crazy. So, yeah, that's where it all stemmed from, just me having a love for real estate, and then opportunity arose. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to execute.
Why is that?
I was so broke, I didn't have $1,000, to be honest with you, at the time. Okay. However, I just educated myself on wholesaling real estate, just investing. And I was just like, how am I going to do this with no money? And that's what I pretty much did. Got started with no money.
Because you mentioned container homes, which kind of rose to popularity over the past, I want to say about 5-7 years after we've had this this major inventory and supply issue. Yeah. How did you figure container homes and not just building like a regular single family home?
To be honest, I don't remember where it came from in my mind.
Just wanted to be different.
I just wanted to be different. I still haven't built a container home. One of my business partners, she's like the leading premier container home builder in Washington, D.C. Nice. I'm sure we'll be doing a project together for a container in a very near future. So I still haven't executed on that, but we did build regular homes. And I don't remember where I saw container homes, to be honest. It's been so long. But I just thought it was unique. I thought it was dope. Back then, I probably thought it would be cheaper and cost efficient. It's actually more expensive to build a container home.
Interesting.
Yeah, the cost to build is a lot higher. For some reason, it's odd.
It's because it's straight metal?
It's metal, it's welding. You have to hire special people to actually put it together.
Oh, interesting.
So the containers itself only cost about $3,000 to $5,000 per container. It's cheap.
Also, if you want to combine multiple, that's when the welding and the cost goes up. So similar to like if you're building a building, a certain amount of floors, the price triples, quadruples, 10 times due to the part of the foundation.
But because it's a specialty, Like you have to find special people to do it. So your average person you would find at Home Depot wouldn't be able to really build. Yeah, you would need special engineers and to get that done. So yeah.
So how would these homes solve the inventory issue if it costs more to build them?
Well, that's the issue we're having. Even with the the modern homes, the regular homes. Right now, the affordability is crazy. Whether we're selling it affordable, whether we're just selling it at the market, just the price for any home at this point is just out of this world. We're looking, myself, as a up and coming affordable housing developer, I'm looking at how I can really service the community. And that means I have to look into grants. So we're looking into tons of grants, not only on the buyer end, but on the builder side. So the state of New Jersey and many municipalities throughout the country, they're offering affordable housing grants. So we can cut the costs, so we can sell it more affordable to the end buyer or the mortgage buyer. So it's right now, nothing is affordable, but there are grants if you're going by an individual's income. Typically it's we'll say about 60% of the AMI, all the way up to about 100% of the AMI, depending on the state or the city. They're giving you grants to make sure it's somewhat affordable for the individuals in that community.
But the 60%, 100% AMI in a lot of these areas are very low. How are they going to qualify for the end?
Well, some of it, and I'll say this too, some of it is also 30%. It goes lower. Okay. I'm focusing on that middle income range. Gotcha. The people that I would consider myself, I'm not going to say middle class can go all the way up to like what, $250K at this point. But who was I before real estate? I want to target that audience. But they do have, there's even more grants for individuals who are on the very low income spectrum, which is that 30% of the AMI. But me personally, and those are more so your renters. They're not your homeowners. I feel like homeownership, it does require a particular income, whether or not you have multifamily.
Correct.
But there are tons of programs in the state of New Jersey where they're selling 2 families for about $250K. There's a lottery coming up right now. I'm not going to name the nonprofit because I don't work for them, but we are partnered. We are partnered on a project coming up actually. But they're selling 2 families anywhere between $197,000 to $250K in which area? Newark. So they're getting tons of subsidies and grants. They even showed me how to do it as well. So they're just grant stacking. So you have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. You have new market tax credits. Depending on the amount of houses you're building and on a block, you can even go after low income tax credits. There's tons of money floating around that our competitors, we'll say, or associates are using. And they're able to rebuild our communities. Right. So we just have to be a part of that narrative.
Do they need to sell it at the lower price if they're getting all those grants?
Yes.
Or can someone be greedy?
No.
Okay, good. It's protected. So
it's protected. You have to sell it for a certain threshold. Okay. Some cities like Philadelphia, and I'm working with them in different capacities, they are telling you can't sell this particular house for over $280,000. For a single family, which is not too crazy. Right. You could make some type of money, but you're not going to go and making $200,000 on a new construction build as a developer. You're probably going to only make about $70,000.
Okay.
Which is like, what are you really doing it for, right?
Right.
So you have to decide: am I really doing this to help my people or not? But if you're doing a great quantity of these homes, every 6 houses, you could probably make about $400,000 to $500,000 maybe. So that's not bad.
No, absolutely not.
Because if it's all next to each other and you have your team, they could knock that out.
Right.
So,
same time period.
And keep it logistically easy. Do you recommend, like, for example, the inventory issue here, do you recommend that individuals start, for a first-time home buyer, do you recommend people start looking for lots that maybe they can either develop or maybe come to you and say, hey, listen, if you have a project, I'll just buy it right off you, or does that I'm trying to figure out ways that we can solve this inventory issues, which I don't see it.
So there's tons of and I'm sure you could speak to this, there's tons of lending options out there where they have what is it, permanent construction loans. They'll give you the money to buy the land, and then they'll also give you the money to build it with that particular builder.
Okay.
So that can be an option.
Are you paying the mortgage? Do you know if you're paying the mortgage the entire time while that building process is happening?
Give you a time period to start.
Yeah,
they give you a little threshold, a little window.
It's bundled
of it.
up into the mortgage. But the only issue with that is we need approved plans. But if you have the lot already with approved plans, it's easier to get the mortgage.
Right.
They're not going to give you an approved mortgage until you know what's allowed to be buildable there.
Right, and that's why builders like myself or developers like myself should be intentional about the end buyer in mind.
Yes.
So if I'm saying, hey, I'm a affordable housing developer, or I'm a workforce housing or community developer, I should be thinking about it along with our local politicians, right? This is how I want to help people that look like me. I'm going to go get the land plotted. I'm going to go after the grants, right? So as I'm marketing this project to another African American or Latino family, this is what I want to do to make sure it's affordable for them. So it comes with intentionality overall.
Right.
A lot of developers are not thinking like that. They're just looking at it like, I just want to make money.
Right.
But that's one way to think about it. And this is why I tell people to educate themselves on real estate. Because also you can think about it as a investor too. So if you're thinking investor minded, you can go buy land a lot yourself. Right. The city of Newark is always selling. Well, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but I teach people how to make it easy.
I was gonna say it is not. It is not easy.
It's not.
And like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I teach people how to go after city-owned land. Right. That's what I personally do, and land bank land throughout the country. So with that being said, if you're thinking as an investor and not a consumer, and like someone in my community, they bought a lot from the Newark Land Bank for $55,000. That same lot on the MLS is $150K. So she's already walking in with $95,000 in equity. Right? So she can go get a investment loan, right, to actually build or partner with someone to build that house. And then if she wants to keep it, all she has to do is refinance it and get it in FHA or whatever type of loan she wants to, if she wants to live there. So it depends on how you're thinking. If you're just thinking, let me go find a realtor to help me go find land, you're already coming into the game, I would say, upside down a little bit, or paying the high end price. So there's different ways to go into it. I just feel like make sure you're all, my stomach growling, sorry. I didn't know you heard that.
We're working out here. No,
You're good.
That's why it's important to work with investor-friendly lenders and realtors like yourself and like yourself, right? So they can tell
what are the qualifications for somebody to go after that land bank property? Like, what
to be honest, this woman, she probably did one flip, but it really wasn't based on that. And even if you had
straight lottery, like,
she put in a proposal.
Correct.
So I know what you're talking about. The city of Newark does have a lottery program. That's different.
Okay.
Yeah, city of Newark and Land Bank has a lottery program for first-time home buyers. You pay $1 for a lot. So a land for a house. We're not doing that. This one, you're paying whatever the auction starting price is plus more. In this case, it was $55,000, right?
And even no bidding. It's just, this is the price.
So other people put in proposals. So if I would have put it in a proposal, there's a possibility I could have beat her, but I didn't at this.
And you name your price, obviously, in your proposal.
Right. And you tell them, this is what I plan on building. This is who I want to service. Like with me, I'm very intentional about saying, hey, if I'm going to build this house, I intend to build it for affordable and or workforce housing, right? If there's grants awarded to me. If there is not grants available, then I'm going to sell it for market price, because we don't have control over if you're going to get the grant or not.
Yes, correct.
So because mine is saying what I plan on doing, but I don't have control, they're going to be like, you know what? Her intention, and I'm also a nonprofit too, so her intention is to sell it affordable. All right, let's give her a shot. And that's whether or not, you have the experience. So this particular woman, she did have a GC company, but she doesn't really have a lot of experience for new construction. They just gave her a shot. I don't know what her competitor wrote in the proposal, but even if you don't have the experience, y'all, you have to network with people that do, right?
Right.
Your builder might have experience. Leverage their experience on that proposal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when I started, I had no ground up construction experience. I actually leveraged my modular company. Okay.
And when was
you could
that
do
first
that
deal?
too.
When was that first deal?
We started the first deal like 2019.
Okay.
It was a long time to get. Yeah, and modular home companies are somewhat similar to Container, but they're around. They're right in the next state, typically PA. You have some that are based out of New York and New Jersey too, but most of them are in PA. Literally, all you got to go do, and I'm giving y'all stuff I share in my private community.
Yes, because that's what happens when you're in the real estate blueprint process, giving you the blueprint, no pun intended.
Right. So all you really need to do is go to a modular company, go do their tour, let them know, hey, I'm a developer, try to get the cheapest price possible, get that invoice of what you're trying to build, let them know what you like, come with some type of concept. They're going to give you the whole breakdown. This is what it's going to cost. And you go submit that with your proposal to these land banks. And that's it. And that's you leveraging their experience. Because they really just want to know you have the financing and you have the team to build it.
I was going to say.
Because they don't want to have to foreclose on the land.
Got it.
Which they will.
And if she buys it for 55,
right?
Do they give her a time period to build, or
is
she able
typically
to just
like 18
flip
months?
it and put on the MLS
No.
for 155?
No.
Okay, good.
No. Now listen, in my community, I teach how you can flip it. I just want to say that you can.
Listen,
she's not supposed to. But
listen, FHA
it can burn her later down if she wants to go back.
If they find out, it will definitely burn her, and then they possibly can foreclose on that land. But there's ways to do it without them finding out. People are selling.
Join her community.
There you go.
People are selling city-owned land and land bank land opportunities all the time. I got like 8 lots right now. That's somebody.
FHA owner occupancy rule.
Right, but the issue is with that. Well, I'll leave that alone because you brought up FHA. But yeah.
Again, texting and driving is illegal. You shouldn't be texting and driving. But we about to sit here and say, don't text and drive.
Right.
There you go. Understood. What is it now? You talked about the first deal. You did the first deal in 2019. Just bring us through kind of the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps from start to finish on somebody's first deal and what that looks like. I know there was the one deal that I bought you that was the lot, and I was like, I don't know what, like, I don't know how to go about this. Is it good? Is it bad? Where do you need your numbers to be at? So on and so forth. You brought up the point of, do they already have the plans? Just give us the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. If somebody just came across a lot and seller's like, hey, I want to sell my lot.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that deal to me. I didn't want to come off abrasive, but I was like, that is too high.
Now she got the G. Now she got the very G. And I was like, listen, I don't know if this is a good deal or not. Like, just take a peek at this where you need it. And she's like, listen.
This ain't city owned. What's this price?
She's like, you could kind of, like, but it's still me. But, like, I wouldn't do that deal. And I was like, okay.
So, although I'm a little spoiled, and I don't want to say very conservative with my numbers, because I do get land as low as, like 10,000, 5,000.
All right. Well, that deal was $240,000, just to put that into perspective.
Right. So, but I would have paid $150.
Right. You did say that.
I would have paid $150 if it didn't have any plans, which would have been great. This one, it was $250, and it had no plans. And I was like, how? What are y'all talking about? Houseway.
So you would do that deal for $250 if it had the plans and was ready to break ground tomorrow?
Still maybe $200.
Maybe 200. Okay.
Yeah,
but
maybe. That's a big maybe.
Because plans cost what, around 60?
No, plans only cost about 10.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a deal until the city tells you what you could build on that.
Gotcha.
Understood.
In my opinion. So it could have been in an R2 or a zoning for a multifamily. But it could have been so many other things associated with that project, and I still had to do due diligence. We still had to do. There's tons of pre-development costs. Let's just say can cost you about $50K.
That's
50,
what I meant.
60K.
Sorry, the total.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
50 plus the 10.
It could.
60.
Yeah. It
so
could.
is that part of the first step? So seller says, "Hey, we're ready to sell you this lot." You're like, "All right, I want to purchase it." What's your first move after that?
Yeah. So my first move is running title. We're doing an oil take sweep. We're definitely. I'm always talking to my architect first.
Okay.
Me personally, I need to know what the heck is going on politically, because he's in those zoning board meetings and he's submitting applications for variances and stuff. And Newark had a lot of changes recently, so I just want to make sure I'm abreast to what I could build on this property. So he's going to typically tell me that. You also want a civil engineer. They're going to tell you what the soil could actually handle on that particular lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a buddy of mine's having issue with some wetlands.
Exactly. Yep. And you kind of want to, so title should be able to pull up the wetlands issue too. And there's also softwares out there that I have used in the past, or I tell others to use, that will tell you if it's a wetlands. But typically the title company could point that out to you as you run title. But that in itself, everything costs money, right? Right. Survey, your surveyor is important as well. What else? I said oil tank sweeps.
Yep.
Okay.
So
those are like some of the main things, right? Inspections, soil. I mean, most of these lots from the city are going to have oil tanks.
For sure.
So then you have to pray that there's no contamination. Then you have to know the right oil tank company to pull it without charging you $30,000. Like, it's a lot that goes into it. You also have to call, what do you call that? NJ dig out. You want to make sure that there's no easements under the ground. Like utility companies normally would put like an easement under.
Oh, interesting. So anything interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that wouldn't be public records. You got to go directly to a company?
Sometimes, I mean, one of the lots I purchased, I happened to look at the title diagram the day of closing, and I saw there was an easement, and I had to just roll with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm only getting it for $4,000.
Oh,
at that point,
let me just go.
The utility company just can't come out and just mark it like they would.
So, but it was like the way this one was like.
It can mess up the plans of digging.
It was. It wasn't in the middle of the lot, but it was like going towards the middle of the lot. So I think what wound up happening was. My builder, I told him it was there because we was going to make a smaller or a more narrow house. His people, I don't know if there was an issue with language. I don't know, but they hit it and he broke it.
Yeah, you see it all in real estate.
So that utility company had to come out, and that kind of was a blessing in disguise. So they wound up moving it over. So then it didn't.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Right.
So nothing out of your pocket, cost wise.
No.
Or did you have
no, not for that part. No, we paid a whole lot of. Other stuff, but not for that part. But had we not called NJ dig out or mark out, I forgot the name of it right now. So, and that's another thing. It was marked on the street, so you should have been able to see it. But I don't know what happened. They just didn't see it. So if we didn't call beforehand, we could have been fined. Because that means you didn't take the time to find out what was going on under the ground. You were being careless, you were being negligent, and you were just moving forward.
So you did call.
We did call.
You still hit it.
I don't know what happened, but they still hit it. And yeah, and typically they would mark out the gas line, the water line. What else? Utility, electrical. Yeah, because East Orange in particular, they run their electrical underground. Newark is over.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a lot, every municipality is different. That's why I tell people, like, you don't know anything until you're about to do the project. Even if I gave you the whole blueprint, it still could be different. Yep.
Two real estate transactions are the same.
Yeah. Yep.
So
go ahead. How did you get the financing for that first deal?
So these deals were quite unique. I literally partnered with my builder. And he funded the whole project. I know. I can't say that's gonna happen for everybody, but I prayed that it does. That's what happened.
So that's a network, though. So you deserve that.
Deal. You had owned the property.
I owned the land. I pitched. So because first of all, I bought the land with tons of dollars in equity built into it. So these lots at the time, let's say they all were worth $120K.
Okay.
I paid for two of them. I paid $5,000, about $5,000 each. Another two of them, I paid $10,000 each. Okay. And then one of them, I only paid $30,000.
And where'd you find these at? The same model in which.
So so I bought.
Join her, developHER.
And this is in East Orange, New Jersey, and Newark, New Jersey. So I bought these from the city of East Orange and Newark. So, with that being said, I encourage you to be looking at these city-owned land opportunities. So with that being said, I purchased land that had tons of equity.
Right.
So when I pitched him the deal, I'm like, listen, these are my numbers. This is how much we can make. I don't have no money. Okay. But I know that I should be working with you because you're the best builder. One, I knew he wasn't a broke builder. I knew he had money. And he came with a little bit of publicity. And I'm not going to tell y'all who and how I found him because then y'all going to be stalking him. But I'll tell y'all behind air.
Yes.
But with that being said, it made sense to him. The numbers made sense. And he said, let's do it. So he funded the project, $2.5 million. That's what it cost.
Oh, it was a project like that.
It was
for all five.
All five.
The construction.
Five.
So the construction was about $400 to $500 per house. Yeah.
Wow.
So he had a line of credit also. So
okay.
I think $2 million was on the line of credit, and then the last house he did it cash.
Nice.
So he had that $500K to do it cash.
Even with the financing part, so you bought that lot, right? So
that part, you want to know how I paid for the lot?
Yes,
Please
because obviously
credit cards.
So actually, I think I borrowed the money from some family members. Yeah.
For all what was it? All five of them? All five of those lots?
Yeah. Again.
Because in totality, it was about what? 90 grand, under 100 grand?
Under 60.
Yeah, it wasn't really a lot.
2.5, 110.
He doing the math.
Okay.
It wasn't really a lot, but I pitched. So again, this is important. You got to know your numbers. You have to know the business. I was able to organize myself on paper and show a family member, hey, this is what we can do together. And actually, me and that family member, we were going to build the houses together. She actually was capable of funding it, but she was just like, you could just give me, well, I can't get into it.
X amount.
But she could give me X amount. And then I'm going to step out and you can go ahead with the builder. And that's what we wound up doing.
I was going to ask,
so she still made a lot of money.
I was going to ask if you went with a family member that, either had experience in the business or if this was just a random.
She didn't have no experience. Well, actually, she was a homeowner. She did have a house in Brooklyn that was a multifamily. And she bought it through a lottery program years ago. So she has like tons of equity built in the house. She never had to tap into it. She's like a retired CEO. And then what else? She just had money, but she didn't really know investing. So I was kind of like, we're going to partner. I'm going to teach you. But the way I packaged the projects was very organized. So she could see all the numbers and it just makes sense. Everything checked out. So I'm going to encourage everybody to get organized on paper. People don't they don't want to look at you and be like, oh, this person's hustling me. They're gambling. No, these are the facts. These are the comps. These are the metrics and the numbers. And then those are typically the moments where, you know what? I know you've been in this business. I think I want to partner with you. Like right now, my mom is about to partner with me on some stuff. And my mom, I don't even know if it's a good idea. I love you, mommy.
Really?
Mommies be like, they say your mother. So it's like, okay. Yeah. But my mother sees what I've been doing. So she's like, you know what? I think I'm ready for real estate. She's never invested before.
Make it a family affair.
Right. So she's like, all right, I think I'm ready.
I want to. So we got off topic a little bit, but like on the financing. And so like in regards to the buying that particular lot, right? Yeah. So seller's like, hey, I want to sell you my lot. You're doing all the due diligence, the inspections, the title work, making sure that soil wise everything is ready to be built on. And then is that when you go to the city and submit your plan, or like what?
Okay. This is okay. Yes. So at what point? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm thinking like city for different things.
There you go.
So, yes, you do have to submit your plans to the zoning board.
Okay.
Or the zoning department. They're going to look at it, they're going to critique it, and they're going to say yes or no. Most of the time, they're going to reject it. They might...
Can't make them happy.
Yeah. My architect knows the zoning directors everywhere, and he still gets one little X on there, and they're like, yeah, just fix this and then we'll approve it. And that's typically what might happen.
Okay.
But 9 out of 10 they may approve it, and once the zoning approves it, then they submit your package over, or you submit your package over to the building and permit department, and then they will give you the approvals and your permits to start building the house. Okay. That process can take about 2 to 3 months or longer.
So you won't close on the land until you have that?
If you're working with no. You can close. I mean, okay, if you're smart, if you're working with a seller, not the city of Newark, but just a regular seller, you can negotiate that in your contract. But it depends on the seller. If it's an investor, They're not going to wait.
Yeah.
If it's just a regular homeowner or a regular seller or a landowner, they might be like, okay, I'll wait, because that's a part of your due diligence. Because you can buy land and the city be like, you know what, we just changed our zoning. Mm-hmm. We don't want you to build a 2-family anymore. You can only build a 1-family. Mm-hmm. And then now you just overpaid for a house or land. And now it's a waste of money. So this is why I always tell people it's not really a project until we have those approvals with the permits. Because anything can happen.
And once you have once they have your plans, once the city approves it, build an apartment, they say you're good to go. At that point, you're able to just build like you would just be doing a normal renovation, essentially. Just work with the contracts and just do what you got to do.
As long as you have the money and the team.
And getting that keep going.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not bad. Because we are relying on y'all to fix this inventory issue.
Listen, we're running out of land.
I was about to say, like,
we're running out.
This is a perfect segue. So New Jersey's having this issue land-wise. So you've now also ventured out the state as well. Mm-hmm. So talk about that, now taking what you learned in Jersey and then now taking that like out of state.
Yeah.
And kind of the similarities and the differences between, those two economic environments.
Yeah. So I would love to say all of the other states, they're kind of solving my investment inventory issue, right? The Midwest, tons of land, tons of opportunities. The inner cities in the Midwest, they're starting to run out of space too, because guess what? All of us New Yorkers and New Jerseyans
went out to the Midwest.
over there, right? But it's a lot going on. So you have people losing stuff every day, right?
Yeah.
So I feel I don't want to scare people.
Let's go. No, we're getting into it. Let's go. Talk about it.
I just feel like there's about to just be a shift where it's going to be more inventory. And maybe it won't happen next year, but maybe in the next 2 to 3 years.
And what is the catalyst to that shift?
I don't even know right
If Dionte have a crystal ball, is it people losing their jobs and then all of a sudden, is it that way?
I don't want to speak the negativity. I don't. I've heard through the grapevine.
If we have the negative, we can find a way to solve it.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I just feel like, I don't know. It really doesn't even matter who the president is. That's what I'll say.
I got you. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who our president's going to be. The shift is coming. And I do now we're going into like spiritual warfare stuff.
Let's go. Let's go.
I do believe that there's going to be another pandemic.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I personally, if y'all know me, I'm a spiritual person.
Yes.
I've been prompted to stop eating meat. I feel like there's about to be some stuff going on with the food. It's already things going on with the food. Right, yeah, we're seeing it. So I've been, just making adjustments. And some of my spiritual leaders, they're telling us like, this is what we see in the spirit. Okay, we just got real spiritual, but it's true.
No, it's real. And the funny part about it, last night, for whatever reason, don't even ask me why, like it just happened to come on. But last night, I was watching The Purge. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I pray that it doesn't get that crazy because The Purge is crazy, but we just don't know.
I was just talking about the word purge, but like as far as like a, you know what I mean? Like that, it's like a spiritual clean. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie.
No, yeah, not like total anarchy, right?
No,
like,
but yeah,
I mean, like a spiritual purge, like a, you know what I mean?
I mean, not to be super spiritual. I feel like this election is super spiritual. Who you vote for matters. I'm not for anybody. So some days I talk bad about Trump. Some days I talk bad about Kamala. I'm really on the side of who God is for.
Right.
So if you look at the laws, you could put 2 and 2 together. If you see what particular parties are doing, and I'm a Christian and I believe in Christian values, so I'm going for whoever I believe is backed by Christ.
And the closest one possible.
Yeah. And every day is wavering. So I don't know who I'm voting for. And it's whoever God tells me to. But anyway, let's go back to this inventory.
No, this is good stuff right here. No,
but like, who this girl talking about?
We want to get the behind the scenes on who Dionte is as an individual. What drives that, right? Because the same spirit that guides that is the same spirit that guides the economic, activity that you're bringing to the marketplace and the value that you're bringing to the community. So no, it's what helps us and the listeners get an idea of, you know, what's the engine that you're driving, Dionte. So
yeah, so I mean, Jesus is driving me. That's what I could say. And yeah, I feel like right now God is using me, if not for nothing, to make people believe in themselves right now, to have faith. Okay. A lot of people come into my communities, they don't believe in themselves. Right. They don't have the confidence. They don't feel like they're worthy to even just be a homeowner. Furthermore, an investor. So I think my testimony was I started back at zero. I was an investor. I had to start over. And I didn't give up on myself. And I heard the voice of God say, reach out to this person. And that person actually was the key to my problem. So when people hear my story, they just be like, oh, wow, if you did it, I know I could do it. And they're executing based off of that. Literally. We had a couple of women and men. They're getting land. They're executing. They're like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we're doing it. And they're winning these lots with no experience, right? They're just following what their goals are, right? They're just like, you know what, God, you're going to handle it. And he is. So I do help them get with builders. We had some individuals who partnered with builders that they met through my cohort. And those builders are going to fund their projects, right? That's not a guarantee for everybody. Just want to let you know. But if the person
Maybe,
is...
unless you join the community.
No. And it's not a guarantee. There's people that work with me one-on-one and a builder might say no, right? Yeah. But this particular individual, he packaged himself well.
Got it.
He introduced himself well. They vibed and they're moving forward with each other. Okay. I'm like, kudos to you. That same builder, he don't even want to work with me. So it's like,
interesting. Right? Okay.
Or he's too busy to work with me, right? So you just never know who you're going to meet in these environments. But it's all, about believing in yourself and just saying, you know what? I deserve what I want. I'm going to move forward. And that's what anything. It doesn't have to be real estate.
Right.
I just feel like people coming from where we come from, they just never seen people do it. Right. So they just don't believe they can do it. And I've come from the gutter of Newark, the gutter of Brooklyn. And God is just making a way. That's all I can really say. Sometimes I can't even give myself too much credit. I know you're like, why not? You're great. Because I've been postured before where I just literally had nothing and God gave me everything back. Right. So when you've been that low, the comeback is like, nah, this is all God's doing.
Yeah, has to be.
What was that pivotal moment for you where that lifted you up, and how do you continue to lift yourself up to keep going for more, keep building other states, keep growing relationships?
I mean, oh Lord, the pivotal moment, and it's still a pivotal moment, right? I still don't have everything figured out.
Do we ever?
We don't. You still have to stay surrendered. I'm never on a high horse. Okay. Like, I don't need God. I still need, to this morning, I needed God. Right. And this morning, I still was like, God, how am I going to do this, right? Because now these $2 million projects are now $100 million projects. And we started talking about the Midwest, but we kind of ventured off. Now we're working on bigger deals, right? So it's like, all right, how am I going to do this? And my goal is, how am I going to do it with no money, right? So we're working on it, and we'll have another testimony, I believe, about how we're going to get these affordable housing projects done in the Midwest. And now there's so many more zeros on it. And literally it's like $100+ million that we need to build it. But again, education is important. Mentors are important. I have people that pour into me in the real estate space who know how to structure deals with no money, which is a help. So they're like, hey, as long as you can control the seller, you can pretty much do anything you want to do. Oh,
I'm such a proponent of that. I'm such a proponent of that.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're working with the sellers to do what we need to do and how we need to do it, and to tap into that equity. Right. So when we go to the bigger funds that want to fund the deal, we're like, hey, we have this equity built in right here. Okay.
Awesome. Which just lessens the risk.
We ain't got, because I think they want like $10 million. We ain't got $10 million, okay, to get the $100 million.
But it's there.
But it's there in the land and in the project. So, yeah.
That's what I love about you know, as we start our descent here. And that's what I love about real estate, right? Because too many people think negotiations are too much. Like, how can I get over on the other individual, and how can I get everything and they get nothing? And like the more that you like step back and actually realize that the seller can get their price as long as the buyer get their terms, and if both parties like work together, oh my goodness, it's very very harmonious. And yes, like the deals, my best deals that from homes that I've bought were always when the seller was literally like, I don't care, like just this is what I want in that, this is my price, and like you just make it happen. Yeah, and it makes things so much easier. Okay. Last few questions here as we get ready to wrap up here. Talk about a major failure. Talk about a major failure that you had in the development space, and what happened. What did you learn from it?
Oh wow.
Synopsis.
I mean, just to recap, when I had to just start at zero, I felt like a failure.
And was that all lost on one deal? Was that all?
No, I went through break up in partnerships, break up in relationships. I had to sell assets off. Yeah. And then once you sell the cash flowing assets and you don't have any money coming in, the money stops. So then it's like, oh, I really don't have money to pay my bills, right? So that's what it came down to, and I felt like a failure. And I know I got a daughter, so it's like I got a daughter to take care of. So I had to fail forward. I could have went and I could have gotten hired at a job. I actually was applying to jobs, and they're like, "We don't want you because you're a business owner. And
you're about to leave. It's like as soon as you get going, you about to get out of here." Yeah.
So I wasn't even hireable, and I was like, God, I need, give me a job at least. And he just gave me another way. So. Yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but that was like my lowest. Yeah.
I went through something similar and like a breakup in partnership, and I do understand because, I didn't have to sell because of the breakup in the partnership, but the city of Newark, I wound up doubling my taxes. So once they doubled my taxes, it pretty much sapped up all my cash flow. I had to sell, and then like you're almost at starting at zero, even though like, and it's the feeling that like you almost lose your identity because you're like, yeah, I was here. But it's weird though because like you're still okay. Well, my story's a little bit different, but you're still okay. But it's just the fact that you got so used to that income that was coming in. So I totally understand. Any last questions?
No. Thank you so much for your time.
I got one. And here's the last one. And we're definitely wrapping up. Just give us a real quick. How does modeling and confidence going together, like when like you're approaching yourself like real estate wise?
Oh wow. So with modeling, let's just talk about that. And I wish you would ask that earlier because this is a long-winded one. So with modeling confidence, again, it's believing in yourself. I felt like I'm 35 years old. So to me, I don't have no business modeling. However, there is a niche for me right now, curvy plus size women. Most of the country is my size. But I've been dealing with, behind the scenes, I dealt with body dysmorphia, where I hated my body after having a baby. So my daughter is 10 now. And when I was trying to be a plus size model was 10 years ago, like before I got pregnant with her. So me making my debut, it was like, wow, like you believe in yourself. You look good enough. Despite what these people want, do you love yourself? Enough to go after what you want, because that's what it comes down to. So it all is all relative to real estate. It's not just about, sometimes you are a walking brand, and how you show up for yourself is very important. So modeling was another desire of my heart along with real estate. So I'm like, you know what? Everybody's like, you still got it. You're 5'11", you're gorgeous, do it. But I really had to look at myself like, you know what? Do you love yourself? And I'm like, I do. And I see these other women in the space that promote body positivity. It's so important to be around people that love themselves also. And if you're not saying that you're looking for a man to love you, but anybody that you're with also, because I think a lot of my body dysmorphia was tied to what men was attracted to. Right? See, this is a whole nother podcast.
No, this is good. No, I know. This is a whole nother episode.
Yeah, for another episode. But I was like, no, I love myself as I am. I'm not about to get my butt done. I'm not about to get a tummy tuck.
Right.
Either you're going to love me or you're not. If you don't see what I give, the value I give as a total woman, even as I become a wife, then you're not my person, period. So I don't know if I answered it. But.
No, you absolutely did. And Tyler did too. Listen, without a doubt, Dionte, as always, thank you for coming on the show. We just love to be able to provide value to the community. If anybody has questions, where can people find you at?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram, Dionte Chantel, DionteChantel, and also Journey to Develop Her on Instagram. I have a podcast on YouTube as well. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a website, journeytodevelopher.com. We do have a mentorship community. We're actually coming back. I don't know when this is going to air, but we are coming back to our 4th cohort. We're reaching 1 year as we're teaching individuals how to become real estate developers with 0 experience, 0 capital, right? So that means you're going to need capital, but not your capital. And we're just helping them become real estate developers. And I'm really excited about that. We also have a property tour and builders brunch coming up in a couple of weeks. I expect y'all to be there. Actually, my builder is going to be there teaching us how to build apartment buildings. So it's going to be dope.
So definitely check her out. All of the links will probably be in her bio, and you'll probably be able to see everything from there. And we are here on the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast with me, Austin Smith, more than an agent, and my Dominicano hermano, Jonathan Soto. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. If there's any particular topics that you want to talk about, please bring it to the forefront. We want to make sure that you get your questions answered. And this is the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast, signing off.
Bye.